now in my not so glamorous looking bathroom, but I'm going to get ready because I've decided to take myself out for a couple of hours. Partly to get some fresh air, because I think especially when I'm off work, it's very easy for me to just sort of stay in the flat all day, basically. I will still, you know, shower, get myself ready for the day, but then I often think, oh, I never do this. Let's just sit in the living room all day and stay cozy, when really I think I'm just being lazy. So I've decided I'm going to get ready, I'm going to get some fresh air, I'm going to take myself out and get a coffee. And I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but I'm trying to make my flat nicer, basically. I'm trying to give each room a little bit of a spruce and a bit of a makeover, just to make it more inviting and cozy and homely, because we have, I mean, each room is nice. It's not like I've let anything look kind of neglected or get too messy or anything. I don't know, but it just looks a little drab in some corners. But I'll show you an example of something we've done to spruce up our flat. So this is the entranceway, and when we first moved in, this space here was just like a couple of metal shoe racks and a tall mirror. So what we did was we went to IKEA and we found this shoe storage, which you pull out the drawers and the shoes go in like this. It not only helped us with storage to make it look a bit sleeker, but it also gave us this lovely kind of added sideboard, and so I think it just makes it look so much more welcoming, a little bit more grown up. And that was really what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to create a space that looked more grown up and sort of jazzed up the space. Even little additions like this. So yesterday I started adding little lights everywhere, really trying to look after my plants, just because, I don't know, they were starting to look a little bit drab. But just small additions like this, just to make the space look really cozy and really pretty, is what I'm trying to do. And then I've even finally started filling out some of our photo frames. So this was done yesterday, of some Polaroids that Joe and I took when we went to the beach one day a couple of months ago. Got like some little coasters, got some more Polaroids here. That was from our holiday recently to Spain. And yeah, so just trying to create little spaces like this. It looks as if it's drizzling, or it certainly was raining last time I looked out the window, and so I'm quite excited to take myself out into that weather. I'm just going to head down. We've got a sort of main little street by where we live that's got lots of cafes and little independent shops and all sorts on it. So I just want to take myself on a walk down there, really. I have got a couple of parcels arriving today as well, but I don't know if I'll be in when they arrive, but I'll show you what I ordered later. So I'm going to hop in the shower, make myself feel a little bit better. I don't love this sort of grimy feeling you have when you wake up. Like, I want to brush my teeth. I want to, like, clean my face, get fresh, and feel good about the day. I'm currently having such a palaver getting dressed because, as I say, I'm on my period, so my body just feels out of whack anyway. And I have a slight headache. I feel like a big blob of aching, and I think, just to be vulnerable for a second, and I don't really ever talk about this, but over the past year, I have definitely gained a bit of weight. If you don't want to talk about this, or if you don't want to hear about this, you are obviously more than welcome to skip ahead. I will try and put a timestamp where I'm not talking about body image or weight or anything like that. I understand. But yeah, I have definitely gotten a bit bigger. And I don't know what it is. I think this is obviously quite a personal thing, and everybody will have their own thoughts and feelings about this sort of topic, but I have always grown up fairly slimmer, But do you know what? I've always seen myself as I've been built quite average. You know, I'm 5'7". I've often been quite an average weight for my height. I've never seen myself as being particularly bigger or particularly smaller than I should be. I don't know, but I don't know. I've not had a funny relationship with it, but I guess I've always been aware, only because, for example, when it comes to things like shopping for trousers, because all of my height is in my legs, like I've got very long legs, I've always found it a bit difficult to shop for jeans anyway. And then you add on, oh, what's your waist measurement, and thinking about the size of your bum and your thighs and everything, and it becomes such a chore that you're like, I almost just don't want to wear them anymore, because even if they're like an inch wrong, they can be sticking out at the sides because they're too big, or squeezing you in and making you uncomfortable. And I've just tried on like several pairs of jeans that I've had now for definitely a year, if not more. Good quality, like Levi's, for example, or I have a couple pairs from Topshop which I absolutely love, and they fit me really well in length, but I'm honestly struggling to button them all up or zip them up, and it's made me feel a little bit crap, I can't lie, only because I've never had it where it's quite literally all of my jeans don't fit me. So yeah, I think I'm trying not to get upset about it, because I just think, well, I know I'm not an unhealthy weight, and I know that I generally look after myself very well. I do go to fitness classes and I eat relatively well and all that, but you know, when you just think, what else could I do? Because I've been there, I've done that, I've been a teenage girl, I've kind of looked at diets and eating and weight loss in a funny way before, and so I don't know, I don't want to get myself back into that headspace. And to be kind of extra vulnerable for a second, I haven't been in a good headspace anyway recently, in terms of my own mental health and confidence and all sorts. So I'm like, oh, anything else? Do you want to throw anything else my way? So yeah, to cut a very long story short, I've basically ended up wearing some M&S linen elasticated trousers and a hoodie, because I'm like, you know what, nothing else fits me, so why not? And then I'm just going to chuck on a coat and some trainers and just go, because I need some fresh air. As I said, my head hurts because I'm getting like overwhelmed, and I'm a bit warm in the flat because of my womanly needs. And so I'm like, I'm flustered, and I don't want to get into that headspace of looking at myself in a bad way, because actually what's currently happening within my body is a privilege. I think to have my period, I often see it as, look, my body's functioning as it should be, things are happening in there that means I'm healthy and I'm things are doing the right thing, you know what I mean? And so I don't want to be angry at myself for experiencing something like a period, but my God, does it mess with you? And I don't know about any other viewers, but when I was younger, my period didn't really affect me that much. It wasn't something, I would get it, and the 5 days I'd be like, oh, it hurts a bit, but generally I'd be okay. Ever since, I would say, the past couple of years of being in my 20s, I now get the nausea, I get the temperature issues, I get the headaches, I get everything. And now I'm like, I need to be grateful for having it, because if this is the worst thing going on in my life right now, then I can't complain, but it makes everything just feel like, and I hate it. Anyway, rant over. wanted to film a little section here just to sort of bring you up to speed with where I'm at, because for the past couple of days, or even couple of months, I haven't just really felt good. And to kind of cut a long story short, I do have anxiety, which I think most people have to a degree. But for me, I can't seem to shake this feeling of, I guess for me personally, feeling a bit lonely, putting that responsibility on me, I suppose, and therefore not feeling quite good enough. I've often had the phrase imposter syndrome flung my way, because I think no matter what I'm doing in life, I often find a way of arguing that I shouldn't be doing it, or that I'm not the person to be doing that, or I'm not good enough to be doing it. And yeah, it's kind of this vicious cycle, I suppose, where I'm constantly questioning myself. I've started a new job recently, which will absolutely play a big part in my sort of nerves and weird feelings at the minute, because like with any new job, it can often feel like quite an isolated process, because when you are the newbie, whether you've worked within that particular workspace before, or for me, for example, it's still within the same environment, it's just a new company that I work for. I'm finding the whole process of starting very, very overwhelming, and I think because I'm keeping that up until now to myself and I'm not really telling anybody about it, it's just only added to this feeling of isolation that I feel. To kind of give you a bit of a brief rundown of what I'm like as a person, I quite proudly often say that I don't like small talk. I am quite introverted, and I am actually quite shy, unless you get to know me and we are friends. But I often put myself in my own little shell, and I think like a lot of people, I tend to prefer my own company, or I tend to only really like being in small groups, even just with one other person, and that's enough for me. But when you're kind of speaking from my perspective, when I'm sort of flung into this new environment, I don't really want to tell any of them that I'm having these thoughts and feelings, because I guess in some ways it comes across as feeling doubtful. I'm kind of thinking like, oh, have I made the right decision making this move, or will I be good enough at this job, or all sorts of feelings along those lines. And what I don't want to do is make them worry about me, or I don't want to be a burden, which is like a classic thing that somebody with anxiety will say, but it's so true, that feeling of like, I don't want to be somebody else's problem. I don't know how to shake this feeling. It's really strange, because I do think, as I mentioned earlier, I am a bit hormonal at the minute, with it being my time of the month, and so I think my body is just a bit out of whack anyway. But yeah, it's not good, and I can't shake it, and I then feel bad, because I'm like, well, now I'm bringing that feeling home, and I don't want to do that to my partner, because when I come home after work, I want us to have a lovely evening together. I want us to be able to just relax, or watch TV, or watch a film, or relax separately. But then I'm thinking, I'm in this like constant battle of, well, I want to hang out with him, but I also feel like because I'm not in a good space, I want to just sit by myself all evening and not talk to anyone. I don't know if I'm putting it across clearly enough, but yeah, I'm just not feeling very good. And I hate it because when I look at the position that I'm at in life, I'm very fortunate to say that I have a roof over my head, I have a loving family, I have a loving partner. I have essentially everything I could want and need, and more. But mentally, I just feel not good and uncomfortable and irritable and all sorts, and so yeah, it's not fun. I kind of had a successful trip out this morning, but I ended up coming back a lot earlier than I sort of anticipated. I ended up just becoming quite anxious when I was out. Even when I like sat down to have my food, I was like, I sort of want to just get back outside again and get in the fresh air. Food was good, but mind not so good. I may not know how to necessarily lighten the mood, but I do know how to brighten up a space, so I've just bought myself some flowers. Anyway, right, I definitely need to get rid of these flowers because they've been sat now, drooping and looking sad for some time, so I don't know how to properly look after flowers. I'm sure some people will look at mine and think, definitely shouldn't be sat there for that long with water like that or whatever, but while I sort these flowers out, which I got from Tesco, I always try and look for the reduced flowers because sometimes the bouquets can be quite expensive for me personally, but they often look beautiful. They're just, I guess, maybe a day out from when they're supposed to be advertised, I don't know, but I got these for £6.24 from £8, so either way it's some sort of deal. But I thought while I sort these into the base, I would talk to you about the programme that I was watching this morning. It's based on Peter Sutcliffe, who went under the moniker of the Yorkshire Ripper. Very famous, massive case. It was really quite harrowing to watch, I'll be honest, and this is coming from the perspective of a woman watching this, which I will like to make a point of, because as far as I'm aware, I'm just going to close this because there's beeping. That's irritating. The case is not only infamous for just being really sad and for the atrocious acts that Peter Sutcliffe committed, but it's also quite infamous for the rather misogynistic police force and how they approached the situation, I suppose, of not only the victim profiles, how they spoke to the women, how they just were so eager to find somebody that they were basically willing to accept anybody to say that they committed the crimes. And the way that they referred to these women, essentially just by calling them all prostitutes and whores and stuff, it's just awful. It's kind of bad enough, if this is weird to say, that these women died, but for them to not even just be referred to by their first name. I know that this particular show is a dramatic reenactment. Some of the characters are fictional. However, it is based on a true story. Peter Sutcliffe was a real man who unfortunately murdered real people. And throughout the whole show, they didn't refer to these women by their first name. It was always their last name. It was sometimes just down to what they did to earn a living, to provide either for their families or for themselves. And it was just really, gross. These people were known for what they did. It's not like a hidden secret that some of these police officers were rather sexist with how they approached this case. But it's just sad to think that at the time, these women weren't being spoken about in a respectful way. Some of these women were even basically being partially blamed for the fact that they were attacked by Peter. And it was almost under this guise of like, well, you shouldn't have been out at night. Well, you shouldn't have been doing the job you're doing. And it's like, in what world is that helpful? First of all, not their fault that they got attacked by a serial killer, but it's just gross that men like that were leading the force and leading these searches and not even helping these women really, because by this point these women had unfortunately passed away or they already had the trauma from being attacked. So anyway, that was my 2 cents. I think that shows though that the actual programme, it was called The Long Shadow, is good because it did demonstrate to me how this case was treated, and it did get me quite riled up, especially as a woman watching this. I was just like, oh, some of these men are just pathetic. They can't even call these women by their first names, or just, kind of forget the fact for a minute that they were sex workers or whatever. Strange, very strange. But I recommend it if you are somebody like me who enjoys watching crime dramas, or they find sort of anything true crime based interesting. I recommend watching that. It's on ITVX. It was gripping. I think it's 8 episodes long, so it's quite a slow burner, but very good. I also recently watched is it just called The Moorside? I'll add the name onto the screen. It's to do with the Shannon Matthews case. That was really interesting. To give you a bit of context on me, side note, one of my biggest fascinations, I suppose, within the true crime world is how the media often mythologizes female criminals, and how often, not all the time, but often, these big true crime cases that we as a society read about or watch about often play into this role that a female criminal has taken on. For my master's degree, I looked at how certain, again, not all, how certain female criminals play a certain role to the media because they know it will work. Ladies such as, I believe it's Andrea Yates, sort of take on this forlorn, devastated, sad, innocent mother who, they'll do anything for their kids, help them, a horrible, scary man has come and abducted the kids, and then it turns out that they've committed the crime. They're the ones that have caused harm to their children. And how the media instantly puts these big slogans in the newspaper saying innocent, devastated mother, rather than question, That's the worst way I could talk about it, because I think if I was to talk about it properly, I'd do a whole separate video. But yeah, and again, I would like to stress this isn't all women. I absolutely appreciate that everybody comes from different circumstances and therefore will act differently for different reasons. But I'm specifically talking about the women who are convicted criminals and they have knowingly deceived the public by pretending to be an innocent, sad, almost victim themselves. They're the ones that fascinate me, and I did a whole focus on it for my master's degree because I just find it strange, that behaviour. Anyway, to go back to this Shannon Matthews thing, Karen Matthews, spoiler alert, the mother who, alongside another male, concocted this plan to essentially abduct her own daughter so that she could, allegedly, from her version of events, escape a relationship. but still kept her daughter captive for, I believe, 24 days. Instantly, when the cameras were in front of her, took on this role of the devastated, lost mother. And it was quite a difficult watch, because I think with this particular programme, you watch it, I think, knowing that Karen Matthews is actually the one who essentially abducted her own child, or stowed her away. And to watch her take on this sort of act in front of police that she doesn't know who took her. She's desperate to get her daughter back. She's sad, but then sometimes she's acting completely normal and allowing all of these women around her to sort of corral and hold her and comfort her, and she knows the whole time what she's done. It's wild. It was another fantastic show. That's why I bring it up, because I recommend you watch that too. Incredibly infuriating, but in a way that it's totally intended. The Long Shadow, you know, people know of the Peter Sutcliffe case if you're familiar with that sort of crime world. Karen Matthews, very much familiar with that case. It's all wild. People are wild, aren't they? Nothing like a nice bunch of flowers to sort of cheer you up on a funny, rainy Monday.
Say goodbye to all that with purple bricks, just free and easy home selling. Join the homeowners across the nation selling their homes for free. That's on purple bricks. Go on, sell for free.
Decided to take a trip to a supermarket superstore, because I've just seen on TikTok somebody saying that Sainsburys has got some new summery pyjamas in that I really like the look of, and I just think there's something, I got a gut feeling that I just thought a trip to a Sainsbury's superstore will make me feel good. Plus Sainsbury's often have quite nice homeware in, so I thought I would take myself, but I kind of fancy wearing my new trainers. So I had these on my summer wish list, which, as I said, for some reason half of it's only uploaded, so I'm going to try and upload the other half later. But these are a pair of shoes that I've seen one of my favourite YouTubers, Brittany Bathgate, wear. They are the Authentic style. I think they're just called like Authentic Vans 44 or something, and they are in, so this is technically white, but I think they're also branded as like an off-white colour, because I don't know if you can tell, but they're quite cream looking. So I thought I would put these on. I haven't obviously relaced them yet, so they might feel a bit weird at first, but yeah, I fancy getting out of the flat again. I feel like I've had a couple of hours to sit down and chill. I've had my lunch, and now, better not sit on that. I just kind of want to get back out again. So, as you can see, I've got changed. I've just got back in from my trip to Sainsbury's, which was actually quite successful. I got what I was wanting and a little bit more, but basically because my day is a little bit here and there in terms of my mental state, I wanted to go to Sainsbury's and pick myself up a few little self-care treats, I suppose. One of them being some new pyjamas, just because some of my pyjamas don't fit me anymore. They're either really short or really tight and uncomfortable, because as I was saying earlier today, I seem to have put on just a little bit of weight over the past year, which it's fine. I'm absolutely fine. It's just sort of meant that quite a few of my clothes don't really fit me super comfortably anymore. Sorry if you can hear the washing machine like gargling and draining. But yeah, some of my pyjamas I've somehow outgrown as well. And so I saw somebody on TikTok say, run, don't walk to Sainsburys. They've got some really cute new pyjamas out. So I thought, why not? I got this pair of pyjama bottoms in like a cornflower blue, very stretchy. They are long enough for me, which is a rarity when it comes to pyjamas. And they are very elasticated, so they feel very comfortable. I then also picked up, that's the hanger for them. I got a pair of shorts in a similar sort of ribcage style, but in the navy. They did also do these in a black and a white, I believe, but I don't think I'll ever own white pyjamas. And then I also got, and these are my favourite pair, I think, a pair of like cotton yellow and white striped pyjama bottoms. I did get these in a size 12 as well. Sorry, these were in a medium. These were in a 12, just because I think a 10 would be a little bit tight. Sorry, I've got something really dramatic on the TV and I sort of don't want to miss it. I might pause it. So yeah, these are just like your classics. They did come with a matching shirt, but in all honesty, I think I'm just going to wear these with like a big baggy t-shirt or a hoodie. But I thought they looked super cute. Again, they did these in a couple of different colours. They did them in a pink as well, but I just thought I'd be happy with the yellow and then blue pyjamas. I then did pick up myself a new pair of pants. I picked myself up a new book. I am not the strongest reader, and I will say that quite loud and proud now. I have difficulty retaining any information that is presented to me on a page, and I often find myself having to read a page several times, which then leads me to be a bit bored of reading. And so this jumped out at me looking very exciting and colourful and cute, and from reading the blurb on the back, it seems like it should be a fairly easygoing story. I don't know, I think this is a second book to somebody's collection, and it's called The Summer Book Club, and it sounds like a really nice sort of girly read about a lady who's having trouble sorting out her romantic life, and she gets together with some other women during the summer, and through the inspiration of what they're reading, they navigate life. I think this is the second book to a story called The Boardwalk Bookshop, just because at the top here it says a new chapter, so we'll see. But that just looked super cute to me, and I thought, if I'm going to try and sort out my mental state, I think one thing I can at least try is reading. And it was only £3.50 as well, so I thought, why not? I did also pick myself up a small bunch of flowers just to put in my little workspace, and a new vase just because we didn't really have any. This mug jumped out at me. I love a good mug, and I just thought this is great. I love this sort of checkered pattern. We have a rug that looks like this, and we have several kind of striped or checkered pots around the house. This was from Habitat, so obviously Habitat is now sold in Sainsburys, and it's got some quite funky homeware, so I bought myself a new mug. And then finally, I'm so sorry if that's really distracting, it seems quite loud to me. Finally, I picked up just a new simple hyaluronic acid because I think mine was running out. I've got another ITV crime drama on. This one is called The Code of a Killer, so we'll see what that's all about. And I've got some washing to hang out, which hopefully will make the room smell lovely and fresh. And now I'm just going to relax for the evening before Joe gets back from work. I'm reading my new book that I got today. You'll notice that the kind of vlog has been cut a little bit shorter or kind of missing out a chunk from this evening, but yeah, apart from just being very tired, I've just not had the best day. I've kind of been dipping in and out of feeling good to suddenly feeling very not good, without going into kind of too much detail for now. But what I did want to do was continue filming as I planned to, but not force myself to sort of create any fake scenarios or film anything for the sake of it. This is a channel or an account that I'm slowly but surely building up, and by doing that, I need to get used to creating content on any given day and just making sure that whatever I'm filming, I'm comfortable with being on the internet. And I think when it comes to having days where my mental well-being isn't fantastic, it's not just a sign for me to say, well, I give up then, I can't do it, I'm not going to do it, because that wasn't the original goal. Instead, I need to just think about, at what point do I feel ready to talk to the camera or to film that shot of my lunch or go for that walk, you know? Anyway, this evening kind of took just a bit of a different turn than I had planned, and I ended up mainly just sitting on my laptop and editing. And then I had just a couple of scones for dinner. Pardon me, more like a supper, I guess. I had an all butter scone and a hot chocolate, and that was about it. But I'm now going to read just for a little bit and probably go to bed very soon because I am shattered. But I thought I would do a little cheerio, I suppose, so I don't just leave you completely randomly. And yeah, that's it really. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you probably very, very soon in another video, just because this week there are a couple of exciting bits happening. Other than that, I will see you in the next one, I suppose. Bye.